Today is day 14? Day 13. Day 13 of the quarantine. I'm like still half asleep here. Had to get up a little early this morning for a morning meeting, and my food was actually sitting outside for about 15 minutes. The guy came at about 7:45-ish, and now it's 8:10, 8:07 to be exact. I grabbed it, threw it on the little kind of table setup that I have here, and let's go ahead and dive right in. So we do have the banana. Looks like they decided to do both a cream puff and a chocolate muffin this time around. I already swapped out the orange drink for this orange drink, which was in the fridge. A hard-boiled egg, and I believe that this is a thing of edamame. At least that's what it feels like. And then looks like either a bagel or a hamburger, but a corn salad burger is my guess. I'm gonna go with that says corn salad burger. But let's crack everything open. Great morning meeting. I mean, it was probably one of the best meetings I've had in a while. Just trying to figure out what I have to get done for this week by next week. Yeah, I'm right on track and right on time, so quite happy. Boss is happy. I think that's what really matters, is that we're making sure that we're making the most use out of my time here in quarantine. I mean, well, here in Korea, I guess you could say. I was explaining to her, because she's like, how long have you been outside in Korea? And I was like, 10 minutes maybe out of the 2 weeks that I've been here so far. And she was like, she couldn't believe it. She just was mind blown. Why would I? she can't do it, is what she was saying. I'm like, I think it went by faster than I actually thought. So, looking at the food, here is the corn. Yeah, so it looks like a corn salad, and they did put a piece of ham on there. Burger. We have the chocolate muffin and the cream puff and the banana. We have our hard-boiled egg, as I thought it was edamame. The drink package, the beverage package was also provided. I guess I didn't mention that. And then we have the orange drink. I made a cup of coffee as soon as I woke up because I wanted to have that while talking to my boss. And then, of course, we have the 2 bottles of water, which I've been really going at the water hard here on these last couple of days. I think I'm actually out tomorrow at 7 a.m. So tonight's meal will be the last meal, and then it'll be my departure, which a friend of mine's coming to pick me up. So that's what we've decided upon. I think I'm gonna change out how I do my luggage so that everything I want to give to him and his family will be in a single suitcase. And then I have a couple of like gift bags that I will transfer once we get to his place. I'll open that suitcase and put everything that I want to give to him from that suitcase into the gift bags. Throw my suitcase back into his car so that he could then drop me off in Seoul, which is about an hour away. But anyhow, I think really the only thing that I may or may not have had, I clearly can't remember, and I'm actually quite sleepy, is if I had this burger before. So, maybe that side gives a far cleaner photo of the corn salad. Admittedly, it's not as harsh as Japanese. Like, when I'm like thinking of katakana in Japanese, it's like one of those things that just like scares me. If it's kanji, then you're like, oh, there's a clear definition to that. I might not know how to say it. There might be like 8 ways to say the kanji, but at least I'll know what it means. And understanding is the point of conversation, right? Just having any type of information passing. It's not about like how it's passed really. It's about how it's understood. And so it's funny, like me reading this thing right just now, like I know the sounds and they're somewhat off from what I'm actually saying, meaning that I'm not saying the Korean appropriately, but like that whole first part right there, like corn, it's like, oh, I think it's actually supposed to be corn. And it ended up, yeah, look, if you look at the sandwich, it's a corn salad. And that took way longer for me than it probably should have. We did get there, so anyhow, gonna bite the sandwich now. Well, if I have had this sandwich or burger before, it's not one that's in my memory. The corn's actually a lot saltier than I remember it being when I had corn salad on its own, but that makes for a good burger. the texture is actually really nice. So it's still sweet and it has like just this kind of strange salty aftertaste that comes to it. But like I said, it kind of wraps the whole bite into like a complete meal, so to say. And yeah, still good. Seeing how I've had the rest of it, I am looking forward to that cream puff. That's gonna be really nice. Yeah, I guess I'll be back at lunchtime. See you then. Good morning still. Lunch was delivered a little early today. I actually didn't even hear it get delivered, which is pretty crazy. So guess I was just too busy working. It's been a pretty packed morning ever since my meeting. I've just been doing things back to back, trying to get things off to America as quickly as possible. We're trying to see if we can make some things happen, and everybody's being really flexible with me, which I appreciate, but it's kind of funny. It's almost as if they're changing their culture, it's a little different of what I'm used to doing. Not the flexibility, but what they're trying to do. But anyhow, this is coming off of the COVID test that I just had. They just did it. As long as they don't say anything tomorrow, I'm good to go. I've been kind of getting ready here and there, just doing little things here and there. Like, I think I'll probably have a few more cups of coffee, but I will be packing away all my like coffee making gear and everything. It's that sudden realization now that, well, I got to start packing things. And yeah, that wasn't something I thought I'd be doing so soon. Again, it just feels like it's been going by so quickly. And that being said, yeah, it's been good. I'm glad that I didn't unpack as much, and when I went to go grab the food just now, you'll notice the towels that are on the floor there. Those are all my used towels. I decided to fold everything and put it kind of in a neat pile. I moved it a little closer to the bed now, just so that things will be smoother tomorrow. So when I exit, apparently they're gonna have some sort of inspector come in and check the room and make sure everything is good. I think that's kind of silly in the fact that they have my credit card regardless of if I leave or not. They could just charge it if anything happens, but I mean, it's the way they want to do things, so it's the way they want to do things, which means tomorrow I have a really early start. Although everything's going to be packed up pretty much tonight. The only thing that I think will not be packed is like my toothbrush, because everything else is just going to be ready to go. I guess my PJs that I sleep in will be ready, but everything else is going to be packed up. I'll do one more workout a little bit here in a little while, right before dinner, and then I'm going to pack up the yoga mat that my sister got me and all that stuff and put that all away, and then just start really moving things around. It's kind of crazy to think that it's done now. I was talking in the meeting earlier this morning about like how I have to like start thinking about what foods I want to eat, because I'm so used to getting room service every day for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And then I've already downloaded like food delivery apps, so hopefully that'll work out. But anyhow, let's go ahead and get into it. We have a soup here, bowl of rice, bottle of water, which admittedly I've not been drinking enough water this morning. I've just been so engrossed in my work that I've not been drinking. A juice that I'll drink with dinner. I'm gonna go grab most of the drinks out of the fridge right now and start drinking them. Oh, tomorrow I have to be out of here by 7 a.m. apparently. They're going to inspect the room a half an hour prior to that, which means I'll probably have to be up at about 6 a.m. at least and ready to go by 6:30. And they might actually come to my room a little earlier, being that I'm at the very end, or I'll be the very last, and I'll have a little bit more time to stay awake, so to say. And I would say the big thing that I'm thinking is that I'm going to be first because my room is 1601, which means that my room will be the first room that they go if they're gonna go in order of like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But we'll see. So today's lunch is a little different, the bento. So I've been calling it biltfish, but I think this is called the hairtail fish is what they call it here. And this one in particular looks like an image of a very famous thing that you go eat in Jeju. So in the Jeju area. But everything in here actually looks pretty unique today. So kind of gonna be one of those things, almost kind of a cool way to send me off. We have the plasticware. All this being said, I wonder if I have an extra breakfast tomorrow, if they're gonna give me like a to-go package or not. I doubt it, but we'll see. Maybe they'll give me a bowl of cereal. Other than that, maybe my buddy will stop off at a restaurant that I could go buy a breakfast at, or maybe I could boil some water, because I do have oatmeal that I've not touched. So as we're coming to a close, I mean, I'm gonna definitely have to do a closing video for this, and I'll get some of the footage of me leaving tomorrow, hopefully. The biggest thing that I'm gonna say that I noticed is that I've never once been like so hungry that I've had to crack into the food that I brought, and I think I'm just fortunate. You know, it's because this really is like a luck of the draw type of situation for the hotel, and I've not had to crack into any of my food. Now I have been like snacking, that's for sure. I've cracked into my Cheez-Its and I've eaten a few of the granola bars that I brought, but I would not say that it's to any extent of really damaging any of those really denting, I should say, any of those that I brought. I brought way more than I needed, and to the extent of where maybe I'll give some to my buddy's kids tomorrow if I see them. I don't need as much as I definitely brought, and I'm thinking, even though I bought plane tickets to Busan for 60 bucks round trip, that I'll just take a hit on that, and I'll take a train down to Busan instead, and bring a lot more luggage with me, so a lot more weight, and that way I could just bring more of the food with me as well. That way I could eat it along the way, because I'm really wondering how to get around all that currently. Not that having too much food is bad, it's just I think I should definitely try to maybe save a buck here or there and eat these things. That being said, if I do see something that I want to eat or try, you know, I'm in Korea, might as well do it, right? So that's definitely been the situation. You know, I'm also thinking about how to edit these videos, being that I think some of them might actually get quite long because of the fact that I am eating everything or trying everything on my plate. I'm having these kind of conversations, which I think will be a good record of what I was doing in quarantine, which is kind of nice. But yeah, it's everything's looking exciting. I'm looking forward to actually using my camera gear as it's intended outside, that is. Actually looking forward to being able to walk somewhere or drive or take the train or the bus. Yeah, this will be exciting. I've been trying to learn phrases in Korean, like Jonim, Charlie, Iminida. I think that means my name is Charlie. But anyhow, yep, let's take a look at the food. Here is that hairtail fish stew that I believe it is. This looks like some fried tofu. We have some, it looks like stewed zucchini, some of the stewed, don't know what these are again, the greens. And this looks like cauliflower that's been kimchied. And then like spinach maybe that's been kimchied. Or maybe it's morning glory, I can't really 100% tell. This is the seafood soup. And then the bowl of rice and my apple juice. But everything looks delicious and I am looking forward to trying it. Just again, so many thoughts going through my head right now. It feels like there's a lot to do and not enough time, which is just such a funny thing because I've not left this hotel room for 2 weeks now. And the one thing that I will definitely note is I know what I could do for the next, if I have to do this quarantine again, I know exactly what I'm gonna do and I know exactly what I'm gonna bring and what I'm not going to bring. Now, noted, a good chunk of one of my suitcases that I brought was items that I'm going to be giving away to friends or people that I know here in Korea. So that would still come with me, period. Like there's no change on that. But on the flip, I think that the amount of snacks that I brought for the quarantine, I would probably cut it at least by half. And the amount of coffee that I brought, I think it was a bit much in a sense, but I think it's gonna work out because when I go to my Airbnb from here, I'm not gonna have the coffee that they provide me every day at this place. And this place definitely did not provide enough like instant coffee, that's for sure. I'm glad I brought more than wanting more coffee and not having enough, because I think the only reason I have leftover like breakfast beverages from my breakfast is because I have like really high-end coffee that I could make myself and drink on my own, as well as I still have a good portion of my instant coffee left that I've been drinking, and I think that I'll continue to still drink that at my Airbnb, and I'll probably run out of that at that time. It's been good. Another thing, I brought 2 converters, power converters. And I think what I'll do next time if I have to do that, because one of the power converters is super old and actually doesn't stick into the wall that well. Actually, all my plugs don't stick into the wall all that well because they use a different type of like wall plug. I really wish that in the States when I ordered the plugs like for my MacBook Pro, you know how you could change the plug on the power adapter. I wish that would be the round one rather than just the 2-prong. Because it doesn't stick into the wall securely and they tend to fall out is what I noticed. But if you are very careful, it puts you in a precarious situation, it won't fall out. So what I've been doing is I did bring 3 MacBook chargers just in case. One is plugged into a charger that securely plugs into the wall, as in a transformer that securely plugs into the wall. And the other is I adapted the MacBook charger to the wall so that I could actually just stick it into the wall. But yeah, that one is the one that's hanging precariously. And like every time I look at it, I always wonder if it's actually charging or not. But thankfully MacBooks make a sound when they're charging. And let's go ahead and dig in here. So here is that hair tail stew. This looks like a daikon or white radish. Oh wow, that's spicy. Okay, that is the sweet sour spicy flavor. Reminds me of a Thai dish called gang som, which is one of the few Thai curries that doesn't have any coconut milk in it. The flavors are pretty much the same. And one of the things about gang som is that it's typically served with seafood, and there's a slight brackish fishy flavor that's in this stew. It's still good. Man, that heat, it's still burning. Yeah, that's it's definitely interesting. It's good. Like, I like it. Again, let's try the fish. Yeah, it's good. Tastes just like that curry, like I said. It is cold, but I don't know if it's because I just left it sitting there at the door. Again, I didn't even realize that the food was delivered. I just heard the overhead announcement say that food was waiting. But for cold fish, it's not bad. Now, I believe this is tofu. Give that a bite. No, totally wrong. Some sort of like sausage. It's very sweet. It's really nice. Almost tastes like a breakfast sausage. You know how like you would dip that into like syrup or something? Along those lines. And then the zucchini. The way that food is cooked here is just so nice. Like, Korean food definitely is one of my favorites. Still has a zucchini flavor, but it's like subtly sweet and salty. And there is just a little bit of spice to it. But yeah, that's really nice. I think I've had this before. This is that, whatever that purplish, kind of looks like basil almost. Yep, had that before. Really light on flavor, sweet. Still really nice. And then the cauliflower. That was like candy. It was a lot sweeter than I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be a lot more on the spicy side, like the fish and the daikon that I just ate. Just very, very lightly spicy and a very strong, sweet flavor to it. So, really cool. Now, whatever these greens are. Okay. This is what I thought the cauliflower was going to be. Wow, there's a kick. Really comes in. Whatever the greens are slightly sweet and a little bit bitter. Still good. I think the overall thing most people say when they have that type of flavor is that it tastes healthy. Seaweed soup's the same as always. Really nice, really delicious. I'm gonna go ahead and finish off this meal and check back in at dinner. I think this video is probably like 20 minutes, so editing choices. Anyhow, I will check back in a moment. Good afternoon. Final meal here in quarantine. Pretty exciting. I have been slowly but surely packing everything. I got my last workout in, then I packed away my yoga mat that I typically do the workout on. I have my dirty laundry all in a bag that's now kind of sitting lightly on top of my suitcase. Put everything that I'm going to be delivering to one of my friends into a separate suitcase or carry-on suitcase so that that'll be easy to segregate from the rest. Like I said earlier, I folded all the towels. They're right next to the door. I have my outfit that I'm going to be wearing tomorrow here on the bed and just trying to figure out where to put everything else, and I'll be packing up my whole like tech package here, all the transformers and whatever chargers or whatever for all the cameras and everything. I actually have the GoPro going right now on a time lapse. I kind of messed it up, like I started it too late, so I'm just gonna let it run for a while and hopefully it captures something cool, but we'll see. Dinner was just delivered. It's 5:45, and when I went to go grab it, I kind of pushed the camera out so that I could see all the other doors who had food and whatnot. And it does look like there's a pretty packed hall here, so I don't know how early I'll be getting out, but just getting ready to leave now. Once I finally like finish watching like some movies or planning out for what to do, and I'll be doing some more planning tomorrow as well. I want to finish Jeju tonight, which is kind of a funny thought thinking about it because that's actually a month out, and then I'll go back into planning for Seoul. I just downloaded a couple of apps, one to see the air quality in Seoul and another to rent bicycles in Seoul, so hopefully that'll work. I have my T-Money card that I need to top off. I'll probably do that tomorrow after my friend drops me off at the Airbnb. I'll just go to the local bank first and pull out some cash, and then I'll go to a convenience store. There must be one close to the Airbnb, and I'll just go ahead and I'm thinking I'll throw $100 on there. That might be a lot, but I'm here for 2 months, so we'll see. Throw $100 on there, and if I still have money left over, my visa is for 2 years, maybe I'll come do this again, because I do feel that this went by really quickly. Anyhow, let's get into the food. Traditionally, this time, I just grabbed the food and put it here. It's actually hot, which is kind of nice. So there's a soup, looks like the potato soup. Here is a salad dressing, which is actually, it feels kind of hot, probably from just touching all the other things. We have the, maybe that is beef. I can't tell whether it's beef or pork. Maybe I'll be able to tell once I eat it. And then a very, very light fried rice. I see corn and peas in it. Maybe it's just rice with corns and peas in it. I have the yogurt that they delivered. I say that because I also have the yogurt that I forgot to drink last night, so I'll be drinking it after this meal. Also have the apple juice from lunch earlier. Oh, I thought I was only gonna get 1 bottle of water, but I do have 2 bottles of water. I have 5 bottles of water in total, so I don't think I'll be drinking all 5 tonight. I'll just pack it, because if I don't, I was instructed to pour them into the toilet and flush the toilet, which I thought was a weird thing. Or maybe I misunderstood it, and I'm just supposed to pour it out into a drain. We also have some fruit, which was missing from lunch, a salad, and a sandwich. It looks like it's like on potato bread or something. It also looks like a tuna sandwich. The plasticware, which ironically, I think I have like 7 to 10 forks in my suitcase because I didn't use them. They're like in their plastic case still. I just don't have the heart to see it go into a landfill. Yeah, we'll see what's what here. And I say I don't have the heart to see them go into a landfill, as in like I never used it, so it just doesn't feel right to throw it away. I've already thrown away a couple, but it's just, after doing that, it just felt wrong. Clearly they're brand new and, you know, I don't have, at least I don't believe I have coronavirus. I don't feel that we should just keep throwing stuff away because of that. So I'll take it with me and maybe I'll use it at my Airbnb. At least they'll get a single use out of them, which is better than 0 use. So my Airbnb host has messaged me to inform me how to get into the house first off, which that's super important because they use, like, instead of a key, they use a code. So he gave me the code and everything. And he also instructed me how to do the trash, which I was like, oh, okay, this will be interesting because they segregate their trash. And I was looking at it and I'm like, oh, it's just 2 piles, really. There's recyclables and trash. Even in San Francisco, we do more than that. And I do even more than what San Francisco really requires. Like, I put all the small plastics, like lids and stuff, like you'd see from this meal, into its own plastic bag before putting that plastic bag into the recyclables so that they could easily segregate that. But that's a story for another day, I think. So let's go ahead and take a look here. Here's that sandwich. And like I said, it does look like tuna right there. I'm not 100% sure, actually. Smells like tuna, so I'm thinking that is a tuna sandwich. There's a salad with some grapes and a melon slice, the rice, and I'm leaning towards pork. That does look like pork to me. the 2 yogurts and the apple juice, the dressing for the salad, and the potato soup. Overall, looks good. I've been waiting to film that final part so that I could put this away. That's funny. It's gonna go into one of the suitcases just for easy traveling. Just trying to figure out all this stuff. You know, you don't want to forget anything behind, and you want to try to make it easy to move. Like, I'm putting my work laptop into one of the suitcases so that it's easier to move around with and I don't have to worry about it breaking. Oh, another note. So on the trash, I actually have an extra trash bag left because I forgot to put it out on the first morning. I had an extra one left over, but the bigger issue was one night I actually filled the trash bag to the brim. I don't even know what it was. All the stuff that I had, all the dinners and everything. And from that point forward, I have stacked all my bento boxes, and I just stack them and then place them back into the plastic bag they came in, the white plastic bag. And I've actually had a lot of room in the quarantine trash bags after doing that. I also stacked the soup cups on top of each other, and I put any kind of leftover food into the top food cup and then cover that. As for the sauce cups, I put those into the top tray of the bento boxes, and it seems to work really well for me. Like, I always have a ton of room left over in the quarantine bags. That's a quick tip to getting more space should you need it, rather than using 2 bags. But yeah, let's go ahead and give this guy a shot. I figure I should try everything on screen since this is my final day in quarantine. Okay, that's pork. It's delicious. It's like a kalbi. It's very sweet and has like a good bite to it, a good texture and spiciness. Okay. I thought it was fried rice. It's not. I think it's just rice that when they steamed it or made the rice, they just dropped vegetables in there. And then as for the soup, I hope I can find this soup outside of this quarantine area. It's absolutely delicious, and it's been a pleasure to eat every night. Finally, we have the sandwich, which again, I've learned to grab it by the 3-tier rather than 2 tiers. Again, the bread is off yellow. It's not the white balance being off. It's the bread is actually yellow. I know that I'm pretty blue because it's blue hour right now, and I have the window open, so I can see the GoPro taking the time lapse that I'm doing, which might make this look even more yellow, but it is actually pretty yellow. If that's not potato bread, I don't know what it is. Like, it's sweet, very soft. Out of all the tuna, this one's been the nicest. One of the things that gets me about tuna is kind of how it has that really seafoody flavor or brackish flavor when you get it out of a can. This one, I don't know if it's like fresh tuna or something, but it just tastes sweet. Maybe it's the bread. Good stuff. That was the announcement for the dinner being delivered. I'm a little sad. I'm gonna have to put away all the camera gear now. One of the things that's been holding me back is the fact that this camera is sitting on a nice tripod, and I really don't know where to put the tripod. I was wondering, or I should say I'm really leaning towards just putting it into the suitcase. I was gonna put it on my camera backpack because there's literally a spot for it on the back, but I don't want it to damage my buddy's car should be leaving it in his car. So I don't want to take that risk. I'd rather just it be in a suitcase and me not use it. I don't really plan on bringing this camera out anyways on tomorrow when I go visit his family or his parents' house. I really don't know what's going to happen in the morning, but I'll probably be using the DJI even though I'm not really fond of the focusing on it or how it tends to be a little blurry, I noticed. Like, it's not the sharpest of images. Maybe I'm doing something wrong, but like, it's just weird when I see my face is in focus, but it's not in focus. Maybe I'm just hitting the wrong thing. Point aside, I will go ahead and finish this off. Again, the quarantine stay is finally coming to a close here. I do look forward to finishing off this stay and getting my actual trip started. Super exciting. I'm glad to be heading towards Seoul. I'm glad to be able to see my friend. Hopefully he could have some time to go get a couple of meals. I'm hoping that we could get lunch and dinner together. That'd be great. Maybe he'll stop by a convenience store for me so I could grab breakfast though. That would be amazing. They kick you out of the hotel at 7 a.m. when they typically serve breakfast at 8. And so it's like they kick you out at 7 a.m. but you got to go and like start living your life, I guess. It's like I'm gonna be starving because I've become accustomed to eating breakfast at 8, lunch at noon, and then dinner at around 6, or a little bit earlier for each, right? Like 7:45, about 11:30, and 5:45. So we'll see what happens there. I'm happy the meal is actually warm for my last meal, and for a last meal, this is actually pretty nice. I would say that it's the only thing I would have preferred if I could have had it would have been that tonkatsu again. That would have been an amazing meal. I'll have to order it when I get out of here. Anyhow, that's enough of me babbling. I will see you in the next video. Yeah, I'm out of quarantine.